It was just, just beautiful and haunting. I was really, really impressed with this film.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Where did this story come from?
So, we started developing this project about 5 years ago. We were knee-deep in production on Paranorman, and the original idea sprang from the fertile mind of our brilliant character designer, Shannon Tyndall, who pitched this idea to us. And even in its early state, even in its most raw and incomplete state, there was something that was really exciting about it. And just to be reductive about it, this sweeping stop-motion samurai epic, the idea of telling a story in that way, in this medium that we love, was just a really cool concept. Sure. It was really exciting. And it spoke to me on a number of different levels, because when I was a kid growing up, I loved stories like this. I loved big epic fantasies. I loved Lord of the Rings and Star Wars and Lone Wolf and Cub and L. Frank Baum. I loved the films of Ray Harryhausen and Akira Kurosawa. And so with this movie, it was like we had a canvas with which we could paint in those same colors, that we could aspire to tell one of those incredible kinds of epic fantasy stories. And what's more for me, when I was around 8 years old, that's when I first started getting into animation. That's when I first started being really excited by fantasy stories. I took a trip to Japan for the first time. My father took me to Japan. And, I grew up in Portland, Oregon, right. Just, on the west coast of America. And going to Japan 30 some odd years ago, it was really unlike anything that I'd ever experienced before. And the whole place and the culture and the art and just the beauty of it was completely otherworldly. And so I came back home with that experience, and some part of me changed. It opened my eyes to something I'd never experienced before. And that's something I've carried with me for my entire life. So this movie combined all these things that I've loved in this one film. And what's more, as you develop these things, you start to, you look for the sculpture in the stone. You look for the meaning of it, and you look for the way you can weave your own kind of personal experience, your own personal observations in it. And so it became really this meditation on family and on maturation and on as you grow up, the things that you gain and the things that you leave behind. And as a kid who went through that myself, and as the father of 3 kids who are going through that, it was, a really meaningful and personal expression of those experiences.
Well, so it was basically, it wasn't an actual myth that you were taking from it. It was some combinations of things that you had found.
It's inspired by a lot of things, but in the end, it's an original story that we developed at the studio.
What is it about the Japanese culture that you love the most when you went there? What struck you?
There was something about just the spare poetry of it. It was really unlike just kind of all the hyper embellished stuff that I was used to seeing, growing up. And there was just something that was so interesting, so beautiful, so rich and evocative, that could be told so simply and beautifully. You look at ukiyo-e, you look at woodblock prints, and because of what they are in the process, they have to simplify nature. They have to simplify reality. But with just a couple of strokes, with just a couple of lines, with just a couple of simple colors, they can convey so much. They can be rich and evocative and get you to feel something, even though they're a simplified version of life. And that's what we do as storytellers. That's what we do as animators. We try to, with some degree of economy, tell some aspect of what it means to be human. And we took a lot of inspiration from that kind of art.
Yeah, well, it's just gorgeous to watch, and it's completely different from all the other films you've done as well. It's like each of your films are these like little mini. When you finished one, are you like, now what do I do with my life?
It is true. You work on these films, or like this film we've been developing for 5 years, so you work on these films for a long period of time, and they become something you obsess over. They become a huge part of your life. So you get to the end of the process after one of these films is done, where it's no longer this consuming part of your life, and it is a bit of a void. You do have this bit of kind of depression as this thing is no longer a part of your life.
You start moving your little figures around in your room. And I gotta just move this in here, take a picture.
Well, it's definitely bittersweet, because you've made this thing and everyone is rallied, and we have these incredible artists who brought these characters to life, and we're proud of what we've done. It's been an incredible experience. And yet we know that that's the end of that journey, and now these characters and these stories, they go on and hopefully become a part of other people's lives. And so it's bittersweet in that regard. We're proud of what we've done, but we're sad to see it go.
So one last question: what kind of inspired you to finally, actually become the director of one of your movies? What was this? Because this one spoke to you the most, maybe?
It did speak to me on a number of different levels, and it became even more personal the deeper I got involved into it. But I think it's a natural extension of who I am as an artist. Now, I've been working in animation for nearly 20 years, and I've been a lot of things in that period of time. And this experience drew on every single one of those earlier experiences. I don't think I could have done it had I not gone through it. I mean, this film was incredibly technically demanding, but it was probably emotionally more demanding. And I was only by virtue of having gone through that, having a great team, and having incredible support at home, my family, which is the inspiration for everything I do,
right,
that I was even able to do it. But yeah, this film spoke to me in a meaningful way, and I've always wanted to direct something, but I wanted to wait until I was ready. I wanted to wait till I had a degree of wisdom, a degree of perspective, and to hopefully be able to see it through. And this film was the opportunity to do that.
I mean, you said you have 3 kids.
Yeah.
What are their ages?
My oldest son is 15, my daughter is 13, and my youngest son is 3.
Oh,
so good range there.
Oops.
How dare you? Outrageous.
I was an oops.
It was planned. It was completely
oops.
planned, that 12-year gap.
How cool do they think their dad is doing this stuff?
Does any kid ever think their dad is cool? I guess I thought my dad was pretty cool.
Well,
I did.
Yeah.
Well, yes. It's funny because in Kubo's world, his dad is this towering, legendary figure. He's a samurai, and for me, my dad was almost like a samurai to me. He was a cool figure. I don't know that I'm a samurai to my kids.
You could be.
But I think they do think that what Dad does is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because it is.
Okay, I just have to ask, though. I mean, I know there's just a million things that you have to go through to make one of these films. What is the most difficult?
Well, you're right. I mean, everything is challenging bringing these things to life. But I think that I think most people can understand that the spectacle is hard. That these big action sequences, these incredible, endless, majestic vistas, bringing these things to life is hard. I think people get that. But oddly, I think the thing that is the most challenging and also the most meaningful, if you can get it right, is to create these little moments of intimacy between characters where these little, 9.5-inch dolls, they transcend being a doll and they become human. They become creatures with an inner life who have feelings and emotions and hopes and aspirations, and they experience joy and pain. When you see these two puppets, these two dolls connecting as if they were human, and all that fades away and you believe in what they're going through, and in fact maybe that even it resonates with you and things that you've gone through. I think that's as close to anything. That's closer than anything that I've ever experienced to magic. And I really think that's when I see that happen on screen, that's when I know that what we're doing is magic.
And then you add the voices.
And then you add the voices, which is their own degree of magic.
Yeah, I mean,
yes.
You got a pretty great cast here. I mean.
Yeah, I'll say. Yeah, when
Matthew has such a commanding voice, though. He really does, and so does Charlize in a different way. That softer sort of. When she's speaking, you're listening because it's very. She has such gravitas to it.
Well, she commands the room, quietly when she needs to, but she always draws your attention. Yeah, I mean, I think that on this journey, Monkey and Beetle become something of a makeshift family for Kubo. They become a proxy for his mom and dad, and
And I guessed it.
Don't tell anyone. Don't tell anyone. And they kind of represent 2 different forms of parenting. I mean, Monkey's is kind of the tough love, and Beetle's kind of the happy-go-lucky, fun dad, and that sort of thing. And they're both kind of ineffective at what they do, and they have to kind of come together and learn a little bit from each other and learn some of their own problems in order to be effective, guardians and to give guidance to this boy who desperately needs it. And so, you draw from different aspects of your own life, and I know that Matthew and Charlize did as well. And, acting in animation is challenging because you only have your voice. That's all you have to bring these things to life. And I think that both of our lead actors in that way just really brought these things to life in a beautiful manner.
Yeah, and art too.
And art was exquisite. Yeah. He is astonishingly good.
He's Recon Stark. I just have to say that out loud. I can't wait to meet him.
Pretty cool. Yeah.
It was nice to meet you.
You too.
And I can't wait to see your next
Thank you.
project.
Thank you. I appreciate that.